intensity to be up. We need to, work hard on our D, work hard on our O, and we're going to leave everything on the pitch today.
Excellent. So yeah, you mentioned kind of amping up that intensity. Any tactical tweaks you might be looking to make?
I think probably just some better choices on O. If you throw the disc away when you're playing opposition like silence, they'll punish you for it. So yeah, ramp up the intensity on D and then better choices on our offence.
Sounds good. Good luck today, and we'll see you in Limerick as well.
Yeah, great. Look forward to it. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Hey, my name is Milan. I'm on my way to Poland to film EMUCC with Double C. I'm doing operations, driving the kit to the locations. I'm doing financial stuff. I'm doing editing, producing live productions as well for you. And with your help, we can do a better job at delegating, maybe. Or we can do a better job at providing more fields or having more coverage. Having a person run around and film the most exciting games at each event next to the live stream. We can do that because of your help on Patreon. Get on board. Thank you.
Take that time and step up. And a huge one goes deep. Becky has it in her cross, and it's a goal! My goodness, Elise Becker, you legend!
The break side, Murphy, and then floats that one out. Huge bid, gets the touch. What a grab! DB!
Help us go electric, become a member.
He's in a great spot.
Now.
He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play,
Jackie
but we
with
have
the
seen
chase.
none of it. Finney, he's done it.
Hi, this is Vest. Me and my camera have been covering Ultimate Frisbee since 2012, and now I've been working with ULTI.TV streaming Ultimate Frisbee for you. And if you become a patron member, we can offer you more contents, especially those games that they are not live stream and they're happening at the end of the game. Half of it I can move and go in there and stream live. So become a member, go on ULTI.TV.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Wrocław, Poland. Teams have been scrapping it out for 2 days here, and it is finally time for finals day, and we are kicking things off here with the Grandmasters Open Division. It's Silence, version 4.0 from the Czech Republic, taking on Great Britain's Zimmer. It's an absolute pleasure to be presenting ULTI.TV's coverage of the European Masters Ultimate Club Championships. My name is Benjamin Rees, and I am delighted to be joined, as always, by my commentary partner in crime this weekend, Rachel Tashnarova.
What a weekend it has been, Benji. And I'm so glad that we get to finish it off with two Czech teams battling it out in the final against their biggest rivals this weekend so far. We do have the Grand Masters Open final first on our hands.
Obviously, we are completely neutral in the commentary booth.
That's right, but I just want to please the fans at home. Surely they will appreciate my insider knowledge and fun facts and all the fun stories that I have gathered over my career with these experienced men who, some of them obviously have had even longer careers than I have.
Is that even? I didn't even realise that was possible, to be honest, but here we go. You can see us in the commentary booth. Good morning, welcome. It's a lovely weather here in Poland, probably high teens, low 20s. There's a slight breeze rolling across, but otherwise sun's shining and pretty idyllic ultimate conditions, I think.
Just like we had yesterday, I 100% agree. We will have Silence in white, Zimmer,
Yep.
starting in black, sporting rather old school-ish design, I would say.
Yeah, do you know why they're called Zimmer?
I'm not. I'm very confused because it is a British team and Zimmer sounds very German.
So you know, like, you see old people have those walking frames?
Yes.
They're called Zimmer frames.
Oh, they are. There you go. A little language lesson for you as well. We've had plenty this weekend, I must say.
One of the great things about covering European tournaments, really, is that you get this nice culture mashup. I think it does make things a little bit more interesting and a little bit more educational as well. It's going to be the Czech team, Silence to pull, wearing the white jerseys on the left at the moment. You can see them in the middle of your picture. It'll be Zimmer to receive.
And we can let the rematch begin.
Yeah, in the pool play, as you might have heard during our pre-match interviews, it ended in a pretty large victory for Silence, but I think they were, sort of expecting this final to be closer. We shall see. Nice underneath goes on the far sideline to Cy Weeks. Weeks fakes the backhand, instead goes short to Felix Shardlow. Wants to get this quick disc movement going quickly. Nice little lead pass there from Ford. Oh, they're slipping that one in there. Here's the captain, Berry, trying an ambitious inside-out backhand over the top. That is a brilliant high grab, towering above his defender. It's dished off to Matthew. Whip it forward, and they find the option in the far side of the end zone for the goal. Zimmer take the 1-0 lead.
First score of the game. Didn't look super clean. I like the quick movement at the start. That is something Petra Hering was telling me in the pre-game interview. They were going to try to stop the quick movement and the short passes upfield. I don't think they necessarily did that in this point, even though they were really close.
Yeah, it was certain. It's one of those things. You have a game plan. We want to stop, say, quick disc movement. We want to stop the long game. But it's one thing saying that that's what your plan is, and it's a different thing entirely trying to execute it.
That is true. These teams are mostly practicing for the World Masters Ultimate Club Championship in Limerick that is happening in July. So there is a bit of leeway for trial and error. As the Czechs prepare to receive the pole, it will be Novak centering to Medic. Opening up with a simple horizontal stack. Malec on the sideline, the Slovak import of this Czech team. Novak, we have two Novaks on the sideline, not related. Novak to Novak, Ondřej to Jan. Back to Medic on the sideline. Try to get it off, not too much there, they eventually do. Now an offhand throw to Hering.
Feels like they've been stuck in this kind of middle third of the field for quite a while, but now they're off to the races.
Vesely now, the former Clapham player. Lots of pressure on the mark from Zimmer. Lots of swings. And another lefty backhand. And Vesely goes almost to the ground, but Hering calling the disc up immediately in the end zone, and Zimmer decide to accept that call.
So, one apiece, both sides with clean offensive holds. Bit of a grind there from Silence, I think. Quite a lot of the time you see with the disc guard, when the disc was going downfield, Zimmer would immediately sag off the handler just to try and stop that quick continuation downfield and force them to work it around the back. But Silence have seen it all before, and they stayed patient, and they were rewarded with that opening goal, as you mentioned, to Hering.
So Vesely struggled a little bit with that throw. We can see it again on the replay. Like I said, he's played for Prague Devils his whole life. Had a brief intermezzo with Clapham in 2005 and 2006.
Good word, by the way.
And eventually played with Silence since 2007, really. And he has been known for struggling a little bit sometimes with his forehands. Even though he's a brilliant thrower, sometimes they just
don't quite come out right.
Unexpectedly just find themselves on the ground. But again, he was also a participant in the legendary Canada-Czech Republic game in the Worlds in London, where Czech Republic surprisingly beat Team Canada.
I firmly remember that game. My word, it was hype. Here's Shipley. faking the backhand, not really seeing the motion he likes downfield, and stretches it towards the far sideline for Weeks. Weeks is going to try and float this one up. Shardlow elevates, makes the grab, fakes that backhand across the end zone. Berry would have been the target. Instead, he's going to get it up the line, and he squeezes it into that little hole. Shipley makes the catch and gets the score. It's 2-1 to Zimmer.
A much nicer point to watch, I think, except for that high grab that Felix Shardlow had to bring down, but he didn't seem to have much trouble with it, even though his defender had a little bit of a height advantage, but he read that disc perfectly.
Yeah, we can see it again now on the replay, faking that around backhand. And just holding it a little bit, see Shipley make that up line cut, gets the right side of Materna, makes the catch, and Shipley's actually just on his way back from a hamstring injury. Let me put my teeth back in. So he says maybe he's not as quick as he wants to be, but he was plenty quick enough there.
Here we go, Zimmer, here we go!
So, clean holds the first 3 points here.
Sideline getting active. I think that will be something that could make a real difference in this game, just like in every game, really.
Yeah, Zimmer only bringing a very short roster in terms of numbers this weekend. Just the 13 of them, and with a couple of injuries as well, it's going to be a bit of a struggle to try and generate that same energy and movement as that ball, I think, might just about have rolled out the back of the end zone. And so we'll get the opportunity to bring it from the front here.
Jan Novak picking up the disc. Most of you will know him by his nickname Kacer, which means the duck in Czech.
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Just have a look at his face. Novak fakes the break side throw. Doesn't take it. Also, a noteworthy thing about Novak is that he's actually playing with his left hand, even though he is right-handed. Ooh, and a deep shot goes up. It will be collected by Vesely, who goes immediately to Lennart. And Lennart, that left hand advantage for the score, heading second score of his second. And all the points were scored by heading so far. He told us in his little info that he filled out that nobody's probably watching at home, but I'm sure that there will be plenty of Czech fans that are willing to adopt him, especially if he keeps scoring like this.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. As you mentioned, if you keep scoring goals, generally you're going to make a bit of a name for yourself, to be honest.
Nice jump in there. So we see the Czech D-line preparing for the pull. Fensel, of course, goes by the nickname of Frankie, preparing to put a pull up.
It feels a little bit redundant to say that there's a lot of experience in these sides, but but what I mean to say is they are not only are they players have been playing for a long time, but they've played a long time at the very top of the European game and worldwide as well. So they are no stranger to playing in these important final style contests.
It is certainly true for the Czech side, as most of these players are regularly still participating in the elite European tournaments such as EUCF.
Reset goes to Shardlow. Underneath to Ford. Two long-time teammates in Brighton. Shardlow goes underneath to Weeks, and now he takes off up line. The blade's going to lead him into space. That's a lovely weighted pass by Weeks. Shardlow faking that over the top hammer. Doesn't like it on this occasion. Trying to get the around instead. Quick pivot to Ford down the line. And there's going to be a little stoppage here.
Shardlow, of course, the inventor of the innovative hex offense and flex defense.
Did he invent it, or did he just discover it? Was it always there? As Shipley zings it down the sideline into Shardlow for the score. Well, the two of them combined for the previous score for Zimmer, but this time they're returning the favour as Shipley finds Shardlow for the goal, and they're up 3-2. Really clean game so far. High quality offense from both sides.
I have a feeling like these two teams are just trying each other out a little bit. They're taking it slow at the start just to see what the other team is going to bring to the table. We have seen Zimmer with some hex offense. So for those of you who've been wondering how it works and how it's done at its finest, are more than free to learn from this game.
Yeah, not the first side we've seen play it this weekend on the live stream. Goldfingers played it yesterday. Amoeba tried it back on day one. It's one of these things where I think more and more, even if teams aren't, fully adopting it, they're taking a lot of the principles on and the lessons on board. Things like quick disc movement, lots of those give-goes, isolating players, spreading them around the field, trying to prevent poachers and things like that.
Novak receives the pole, centers to Medic. Lennart. Back to Medic. Not much opening up field yet. Now Vesely finally gets it. Has some cuts downfield. There's completely isolated Medic, who finally gets the disc. He's gonna go for the break. Finds Mallet. And a quick dish to Novak as well, this time Ondřej. Goes by the nickname of Freza.
3-all. Interesting. It looked like it was kind of cagey at the start there, and then really opened things up with this big hammer across the field to access this soft space on the near side, and then that little kind of Oyo style throw, the outside in throw down that inside out channel, but it was well read.
In the Czech Republic, we call that the American break.
Yeah, I can see why, thinking of teams like Colorado Mama Bird that have utilised that to great effect over the years, and yeah, using it well there. And once they got that break slide flow going, Zimmer were just unable to keep up with them. So 3 goals apiece here. Still no turnovers as yet in this game. We've had a couple of sketchy moments, thinking about that inside-out backhand in the first point, but David Ford did brilliantly to reel it in, and still tied at 3s with nothing between the two sides at the moment. If you wanted a high-quality final to kick things off here on finals day, the Grandmasters are providing that. Here's the ball coming up from Silence. I think, even though the commentator's curse isn't real, might have jinxed them there, because that ball is going to slide out of bounds, so they get a chance to bring this in from the brick.
We hear Fensel immediately going, sorry, my bad.
Easily done. But then I'm not very good at pulling, so it's very easily done.
He has always kept very high standards for himself. And it's probably worth to mention that he has little twins at home now.
Oh, that's cute.
Cheering him on.
So they get the initiation moving quickly out of that shape. Tight throw to Rolf. Bid comes in. He's going to take advantage here to power up line. Good use. Takes that grab high with his dominant left hand. Ben Rolf, commonly known as Mental, instantly recognisable with those dreadlocks and that visor or headband on the near sideline now. Here's Mitchell. Want to see if he can get it off the line here, or whether they can use this as a pressure point instead. The dish goes back to Rolf. Fakes the offhand with the righty. Goes back to Shardlow. Again, those two played together for so many years down in Brighton. Disc now dished off to Harding. Bit grindier at this point, it feels, for Zimmer. Silence really making them work underneath, trying to stretch the legs of this slightly diminished roster. That's going to rise a little bit, but that's a really nice snag there from Cy Weeks under tight Silence pressure. Popped off to Harding. Central, there's a player down on the floor.
Wow, that's some pressure Silence has put on in this point. They're really making Zimmer work so much harder in this one. I can feel it.
Yeah, it just feels like after both sides have felt their way into this game, there's been maybe a slight little ramp up in intensity. Nice break side movement and flow. They're going to poke this one up. Weeks is the intended target, but it's defended. Game's first turnover.
The Brits were keeping their composure all the way through the field, and they might have gotten slightly impatient on the last throw. Not saying that it was not on, but maybe it was just a bit too hasty, and the execution just wasn't perfect, giving Kesek the chance to get the D.
Yeah, just floated it too much, I think.
So here's the first turnover of the game, and a Czech D-line setting in a vertical stack. Materna striking deep, lots of poaches. Different players picking up. Oh, and here's the rematch. And the disc will be brought down.
Felix Shardlow picks up quickly, just wants the simple throw into the end zone for the goal, but it's not there immediately. Instead, they pass a little higher release to Ben Rolfe. That'll get it done at the second time of asking. Not clean, game's first turnovers, but Zimmer, having committed the error, did very well to win it right back and take the lead once more. It is 4-3 to the Brits.
So Czech defense finally forcing a turnover out of the Brits. But then they get stuck in that difficult corner. We do have a little bit of wind starting to pick up. I still don't think this should be any bother to these experienced players. But that corner is difficult, especially when you set your stack up in a fashion that does not allow a direct deep throw. It doesn't provide for the direct deep threat. And the Brits just capitalized on it really well.
Good example there with the scoring pass of the idea of throwing with touch, because Shardlow just floats it into that space, and originally it's probably a little bit beyond Rolfe, but actually he keeps it, enough float on there so that Rolfe can comfortably chase it down for the goal. And it looks like while we've got a timeout here on the pitch, we're going to take a little breather as well, but don't go anywhere because this scintillating final continues very shortly.
Murphy, and then floats that one out. Huge bid, gets the touch. What a grab! DV!
If you want to join us on the last stop before Worlds, you can do so in person at the London Invite by clicking the link in the description of the video to buy yourself some tickets, or if you can't make it to the UK's capital, well, you can watch the whole thing on ULTI.TV.
But for now, you can definitely join us in the YouTube chat. Both Benji and I will be checking your comments regularly, answer all your curious questions, and send or pass on all your messages and encouragement to the teams currently battling out the Open Grandmasters final here in Wrocław.
So far, Zimmer leading 4-3 on serve at the moment. Just the one turnover for each side, both coming in that last point, with Zimmer turning over on an end zone shot to Cy Weeks, who then was able to win the disc back with a block at close range, which was capitalised on. Shardlow throwing to Rolfe for the goal.
We again see the stable Czech offense of Novak, Medek and Lenard in the handling setup. Novak really using that offhand, finds Vesely downfield. Now it's Herring, who goes back to Vesely in the middle. They continue the flow with a pass to Novak. Herring to Medek, back to Herring, moving the disc quickly now in the red zone. Just one good upline cut and it's there. And that's another score for Silence. This time Medek with the score, I believe.
I'll take your word for it. Can't quite spy the shirt number.
His nickname, on the other hand, is Medvěd, which means a bear in Czech. So it seems like we have a good old zoo on the Czech team there.
Do a little bit. For that point, it felt like Zimmer, for a long time, really stymied the Silence offense. They held the disc for a long time before they finally broke it open with a nice downfield gainer that it tempted a few defenders in there, but it was placed securely enough that none of them could really get a bid on it. And then you see it here, just eventually the down the line throw from Herring to Medek. And that's the first assist of the game for Herring, although he also has 2 goals to his name. So we're seeing his offensive output borne out in the stats so far.
Heading is a software engineer, 44 years old. He's playing an offensive cutter, as you might have noticed. And besides Silence, he has played for Prague Devils. And his biggest achievement was a mixed silver medal from EUC 2007. And then, of course, the 8 straight Czech Open titles with Prague Devils.
Not a bad return, that. Although there are members of the opposition and actually members of his team who have been part of the 20-plus straight streak for Clapham in the UK in the UK Open division, which, you know, is still a little bit ridiculous. Starting underneath, Ford makes the catch. Weeks on the far sideline. He's got an option, centres it to Ford. This is Matthew Whippet Ford, rather than Dave Ford, the taller number 11. Mitchell sneaks this one. You mentioned that American style throw down this near sideline with that outside in shape. Centres back to Mitchell. Wants the break to Ford, but it's not there. Shardlow will come underneath, out in front for him to run onto. Sits that towards the far sideline. Here's the captain, Dan Berry, in towards the centre of the pitch. Weeks dishes off for Shardlow. Nice offence. Forced, sags off well there from Fensel, but he's going to eventually float that. He has his pick of receivers, and it's Berry who makes the catch for 5-4 Zimmer. Well, given that the first game finished 15-6, and it's already 5, and Zimmer have already got 5 points, I think this might be a somewhat closer game than their pool play matchup.
Isn't that what we all have been waiting for, Benji?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's probably what Silence would have wanted for as well when they played that first game. You know, felt that maybe they didn't see the best out of Zimmer, and yeah, they've turned it on in this game.
They also said, Silence told me before this game, that everything in that last matchup went their way, sort of. So they did expect a better performance out of Zimmer, and I think it's. I really need to go now to the action that you're seeing right now. We see Fensel giving his signature instructions.
He didn't look massively enthused about their defensive performance.
This is his game mode. This is his general game mode. So everything is fine, really, for those of you at home who are being slightly worried about the Czech team. But anyway, going back, I think a tight match would really be beneficial for both these teams, as there's 15 teams in the Grandmasters Open division in Limerick, with lots of teams from Canada and USA, of course. So a good practice game is just what these two teams need.
And you can't really get any more intense than a European final.
A big gainer to Malec. Vesely now in the middle. Madx striking for the deep shot. Not there. Novak now in the middle. Basically only utilizing his offhand. Takes the sneaky pass to Malec, and that is the other Novak with the score.
So, enlighten me onto this one. Why is he using his offhand?
He has started doing that a while ago. I would say about 3 years ago. Just I'm not sure if it was due to injury. I have some info from the sideline that it's been a long time. Well, of course, he's been doing it for a while, but I think now he really is solely using his left hand. So he started doing it a while ago. He's been practicing it, of course, a lot longer. And I am not sure if there was, if it was due to an injury, or if he just wanted to have fun with it and find another progress for himself that he could work on. In any case, I wouldn't ask him, because once he gets talking, he gets talking.
And you saw there, maybe that throw towards the far sideline was a little bit fluttery, but took advantage of the height mismatch to flip that one over the head of Ford.
I really liked the way Heading kept his balance, even though the defender tripped over him. He's just a steady unit.
Tried to he's a solid guy, isn't he?
I lifted him once. He was the one who, well, we did a CrossFit workout together. I carried him for 50 meters.
Rather you than me. Towards this near sideline. Weeks. Centres to Grayson. Can hear the sideline counting passes. High release backhand to Ford. Ford doesn't like that squeeze to Weeks.
A bit of a straight up D from Silence there.
Rolf, that throws low, and it's off the hands of Mitchell. Maybe a chance for the game's first break.
The wind is really blowing straight towards the camera now, so these upwind throws could prove difficult. Gesek will pick up for the silence D-line.
Yeah, got the block on the game's first turnover, and rather than try and rush things here, he's going to take the opportunity to use a timeout because he knows how important breaks might be in this game. See a frustrated Danbury taking his with a quite vociferous hat removal there.
I don't even know what that means, Benji.
He had some. I think his emotion was writ large with his actions. I'll put it that way. We're going to take a little breather here as well. Don't go anywhere because we'll be back shortly.
Hi, this is West. Me and my camera have been covering Ultimate Frisbee since 2012, and now I've been working with ULTI.TV, streaming Ultimate Frisbee for you. And if you become a patron member, we can offer you more contents, especially those games that they are not live stream and they're happening at the end of the game. Half of it I can move and go in there and stream live. So become a member, go on ULTI.TV.
Welcome back to ULTI.TV's coverage of the European Masters Ultimate Club Championships here in Wrocław, Poland. Grandmasters Open final action. Silence of the Czech Republic up against Zimmer from Great Britain. No breaks so far, but this is the best opportunity for either side.
And if you're following us live on our ULTI.TV YouTube channel, you do need to subscribe to make sure you're able to comment on the video, but I am getting some messages that the settings might not be the way they should be.
Yeah, I think you have to be subscribed for a minute before you can chat because that helps to filter out the various spam bots as Keseg brings it in off the timeout.
Goes directly in the middle, and Fensel with a contested catch, and he finds Materna for an easy break score.
First blood maybe goes to silence, or maybe not.
Maybe not. We can bring the disc back if necessary. It seems like there was something happening downfield, and the discussion will be whether it affected the play, which seems like it did. So Fensel's gonna fix up his cleats and his socks. Cleats about the size of European 36.
Right, sure.
But you only see them before he starts running, really. And he's gonna try to do it again, fakes the huge breaks, goes back to Gesek. Quick exchange on the sideline. Ooh! A pretty athletic defense will be enough to return the disc back to the hands of the British.
Yeah, it's the captain, Dan Berry, getting a hand in there to palm it away. Really good block there.
But I think this might be just what the Czechs needed to have even more energy and grit on the defense. Fensel tries to get in the way.
On a high stall count, Ford has no choice but to blade it deep and against the other in the battle of the two number 7s. This time it's Silence who come out on top.
Stecker got underneath. I wasn't sure he was going to get there on time, but eventually the disc floated long enough.
Yeah, on a high stall, Ford didn't really have time to properly get the right body shape or position for that, but it very nearly went back the other way instantly. Really good low grab there to keep it alive.
Hron not really focusing on that first throw. Materna now fakes the deep, doesn't take it. Has Sedlat underneath. They keep going up line. That's Stecker again, who got the D earlier. Fensel swings the disc wide back to Hron. Jeroen, a lefty himself. Fensel not liking what he sees, but Gesek finds Sedlash right on the end zone line. And just a quick pass to Koželuch, I believe. Koželuch from the home team of Chupacabras out of a small town of Žďár. And that's the first break.
It is indeed the first break of the game.
The Brits did their best to avoid it. They got the disc back twice, but on the third turn,
it feels like there's just, maybe a little bit too much pressure now mounting up from the Czech defense. They're able to continually get fresh legs out there. Seeing that earlier D there from Berry. And then tries to go deep on the high stall, but is palmed away by Stecker, as you mentioned. And then here's the replay of the score to that frustrated Fensel. Does find the outlet in Keseg, towing the line, and then, as you mentioned, just cool as you like into the front of the end zone for, who did you say it was? Koželuch?
Koželuch. Only 39 years of age, so barely in the Grandmasters category. His ultimate sporting hero is LeBron James, because he's the king. And he says ultimate is a great preparation for the ice hockey season.
Oh, wow. I mean, those are two sports with very different approaches to contact.
Ice hockey, of course, being pretty big in the Czech Republic. In case you were wondering what these teams have been doing as a preparation for this tournament, I can tell you that Zimmer played Wind Farm in Nottingham and some other small events in the UK, whereas Silence have mostly been practicing against the, as what they call, junior masters team, Silence 3.3. Getting smashed most of the time, really, saying that the athletic abilities are really quite different between those teams. Even though in this final, I think we're not seeing too many bellies or sluggish cuts.
I mean, I will be fair, that's because the camera isn't centered on the booth, it's centered on the trophies instead, so that's fine.
I am actually very much enjoying this final. The teams had gone into timeouts and now they're slowly leaving their huddles to return to the starting lines.
You're just seeing what the teams are playing for. That first place trophy, the 3 format, the bronze medal game is going on currently on the pitch beyond, with Austria's Oida up against DJ Dahlem, Grandmasters of Germany. Both of those sides, I believe, will be representing at the World Championships in Limerick.
So Zimmer recollecting themselves for the next offensive point.
Seeing some Hurd and some Woody's players, I think, in the crowd there in the little grandstand over towards our left-hand side, soaking in the sun and soaking in the enjoyment.
Some teams, of course, still playing out their last placement games around Field 1. We had to move the times of the finals slightly by half an hour due to Puck from France playing the last one and their early flights.
Here's the pull. Caught by Zimmer and sent it to Dave Barnard. Underneath, finds Ford. Pumps the backhand fake. Turns to look inwards. Wants the reset, but he doesn't like that option. Instead, still count rising. He jacks it deep. He's waiting for Shardlow, who runs it down with the easy juice. Shardlow is having himself a game. Ford with the assist. Shardlow with the score. Thinks about the spike and decides against it. That'll be 6-all. It's Felix's second goal, along with 3 assists. It's a good return so far from 6 points.
I think he was trying to do the walker, wasn't he?
Oh, he might well have been.
I think that's what he was going for.
Get it on the replay.
We'll see the break side deep shot here.
Yeah, on the previous point, Ford turned over with a deep shot, but he wasn't dissuaded by that one. Had a little more time, feels more comfortable with the backhand than with the forehand, and as he mentioned, runs it down in the back of the end zone for the goal.
So I think the Czech defense of either force middle or kind of a straight up and take away the dump works pretty well, but of course you cannot get broken like that.
Yeah, it kind of undermines what the rest of your defense is doing downfield if you let the disc go on the wrong side. But again, stopping those breaks, easier said than done.
Agreed. We're tied at 6-all when another pull goes up.
Yeah, so far just the one break of this game going Silence's way. Their O-line yet to turn it over.
Medic. Back to Novak. And Novak with a lefty IO backhand. Oh my god, and Vesely is underneath, but just misreads it poorly.
I mean, absolutely the right call to make that throw. Absolutely the right call to make that throw. He was wide open. They tried the zone and there was a miscommunication. And David Ford left him wide open deep. But Vesely, as you mentioned, just got it all wrong. Tried to take it too early. Sails over his head. Zimmer now with a chance to break back after the first O-line turnover here for the Czechs. Underneath it goes to Rolf. With this small roster, it's not so much an O-line and a D-line, it's just whoever they can send out there. And it is roasted deep. Players trying to catch up. Berry tries to get underneath it. The second attempt, it might end up in Ford's grasp. I don't think it was the intended target, but I'm not sure it really matters at this point, and there's a clattering in the end zone. That was spicy.
This is the first time I'm seeing Petr heading down. They're going to do a little dance for us now, because it takes a lot to take a man like him down.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. He is well built.
He hustled down for that D so quickly, making up so much ground on the O players, but eventually I think it just went over his head, and Novak unable to reach for the last defensive effort.
Yeah, probably the two shortest players on the Zimmer roster, Ford and Berry, going deep, but didn't matter. Got the better of their taller opponents anyway. We stand short kings here in the booth. Here's Ford. Still count rising, tries to blade it over the top, and it's tipped, and if you don't catch your Ds, that's what happens. The connection finds Berry, and Zimmer retake the lead at 7-6. Great game we've got here. They're turning it on for the final.
Vesely really trying to make up for his mistake on the other side of the pitch, getting a hand on that D, but it wasn't. He went more for the spike than for the catch, and it did not pay off. Unfortunate for the Czechs, but better for the fans at home. We're back at the start. 7-6 Zimmer over Silence 4.0.
Vesely's been playing for 2/3 of his life. He's 42, he's been playing for 28 years. You know, he's been played at some of the best teams in Europe. He's won European crowns, so at this point he knows, and I'm going to call him out for it, you've got to catch your Ds. At this point, and you may say it's a bit mean, he's coming across, you know, he kind of just macks it in the air, catches the underside of the disc, but I don't care. It's a good example. Doesn't matter how old you are, if you don't catch your Ds, you can and sometimes will be punished.
So the Czech offense retakes their position on the other side of the field, preparing to receive the pole. Not too many changes. It's basically the exact same line. Medic goes to Lennart on the sideline. Zimmer with a bit of a zone.
Yeah, they tried this last time and they got the turnover because Vesely just misread it, despite the breakdown in coverage from Ford deep.
Silence working the handlers as well as the middle of the field. Zimmer now transitioning. Novak find. Oh, and a save by Malec. Wow, Vesely was trying. I think his intended receiver was somebody else. It was Medic who missed it, and Malec luckily right behind him for that sliding catch, and that's an offensive hold for Silence.
I mean, he might tell you that's exactly how he drew it up. I'm not sure that I'd believe it. But again, you see them, Zimmer's defense is getting a little bit of pressure now. They got the turn on the last point and then converted for their first break. A little bit dicey there for Silence, but in a very evenly matched first half, both sides with a break apiece, it's 7-all, and it's Galaxy point, Rachel.
Yay. Just the fun. We hear the volunteers signaling the time cap as well.
I mean, it's 8:30 regardless at this point.
It is, it is. We're not going to worry about it too much. now you can see the wind picking up on the jerseys and shorts of the players.
Yeah, it's just riffling and rippling them a little bit. Czechs getting ready to pull, searching for their second break here. That would take them 1 point up, going into the second half, receiving to begin the second as well.
Fensel's wife getting active in the check, saying, Czechs go, get a break, let's go.
So, checked in, or as they say, brought in from Zimmer off the pull. Dish off to Rolf on the far sideline. Weeks takes off deep, but he doesn't like that option. Instead, wants the high release, still not there, and a miscommunication between Ford and Grayson.
And a chance for a break. Fensel picks up quickly, goes to Karasek on the sideline. Karasek looking into the end zone, and he's gonna get the assist! And that's a score. And Czechs take the Galaxy point. That was Koziluch with the score, a second score for him. And I'm going to use this opportunity to pass on from Karasek that he would like to send greetings to Anička, Anna Zvěřinová, and his son Jachimek, who are watching in Budweis.
Ah, it's very nice, isn't it? It's lovely. So, 8-7, the half-time score here with Silence getting their second break of the game a little bit before half-time. It is Benjamin Rees alongside Rahel Toshnerova, and Hannah desperately tries to get out of shot, but we saw you, don't worry, it's all good. Been playing for Thundering Herd this weekend, and I must admit, she looks reasonably tired, as you would expect, because they've got like 11 fit players, absolute mad lads, gender neutral. That break before half-time gives Silence the 1 goal advantage, as you're seeing, just the miscommunication due to that pressure underneath there from Silence, and they punched it in relatively quickly to give themselves the 1 break lead, and they'll receive to start the second period of this game. ULTI.TV's coverage of the European Masters on.
He's in a great spot. He's in a perfect spot. Yes, his massive head has blocked everything. That was a huge play, but we have seen none of it. Finny, he's done it.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and fund our work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
And a huge one goes deep. Becky has it in her front, and it's a goal! My goodness, Elise Becker, you legend!
The break side, Murphy, and then floats that one out. Huge bid, gets the touch. What a grab! DV!
Welcome back to ULTI.TV's coverage of the European Masters Ultimate Club Championships live from Wrocław, Poland. It is the Grand Masters Open Final with Silence version 4.0 taking an 8-7 half-time lead up a break against Zimmer from the UK, and they will be receiving to begin the second half. It's I can't even get my own name right. God damn it. It's Benjamin Rees here with you in the commentary booth, joined as always by Rachel Trosnerova. Good start for me in the second half.
It is. We ended up with a Galaxy point, finished off strongly by the Czechs. And they will start on offense in the second half. The steady handlers of Novak, Medek, and Lenard doing lots of work there for the Czechs. Now they find Malec.
Fourth middle coming from the Zimmer defense.
The other Novak. Or is it the first one, you know? Vesely now in the middle. He's thinking about the deep shot. He takes it, and what a nice inside backhand directly in the hands of Medek, I believe. Medek, for being a handler, he's scored quite a few points in this game already.
Yep. I mean, timing, knowing when to
leave the handler space and sneak into the end zone is a special skill that few people possess. Of course, a shout out to his wife, Kristina Metkova, who is playing for the international Amoeba pickup team that we saw on the stream earlier as well. And of course, their two kids hopefully watching from home, probably being watched by grandparents or someone like that. Actually, shout out to all family members who are allowing these players to have this great experience here in Wrocław, enjoying the weather, enjoying the beautiful grass fields, and the fun stuff on the stream, the fun moments.
I think when people think of Masters Ultimate, they do think a little bit of, you know, like people with it's people kind of playing through various knocks and niggles with knee braces and tapes and ankle supports and things like that. But you think, okay, they're gonna, you know, they're gonna be crafty. They're gonna, you know, they're gonna know how to poach, and you're gonna have some absolutely supreme throws. And that low release backhand just sitting it into space there from Vesely is an absolute peach.
The pull goes out of bounds. I don't think Silence will be very happy about that. They should have thrown a few, I think, during the halftime to really feel out the new conditions and the slightly stronger wind.
Shardlow's just marshalling the troops, trying to set up this, set up the spacing to begin the point. And he starts by throwing it underneath to Ford. Ford pumps the backhand. Now breaks to Berry on the near sideline. Lots of players in a tight space. Still count rising. Squeezes it through to Shardlow, who's got no mark. Tries to take advantage of the poach by leading Berry into space. Doesn't take the first shot into the end zone. Cut comes up line instead. Turns and tries to centre a little bit here. Still not seeing an option he likes. Two players take off for the same space. It's getting a little bit cluttered, and the high release just about gets away with it. That was, I'll be honest, quite ugly offense, but as long as it worked, I'm not sure that Zimmer will mind too much, but they know there's things to sharpen up in this second half because the spacing and the clustering was, was not particularly aesthetically pleasing.
But there were moments I loved, Benji. For example, that throw from Shardlow to Barry on the sideline. That was such a difficult throw to execute. Barry was pretty open, cutting up line, but this is exactly the moment where you stop focusing on the throw and kind of think, oh, I can kind of throw it anywhere in the space. And Shardlow just did a great job curving the disc right in front of Barry for that nice upline reception. And here we see it from another angle. I think Gesek really employing the face guard in the end zone, turning a second too late.
You see this, he gets this disc out nice and early and just sits in on the win, showing that underside a little bit. Lovely throw.
So Zimmer staying in the game, keeping it close, hoping for that final push where they could get the breaks back and maybe even overpass the Czechs, just like we have seen on the stream a couple of times by now.
And while you're talking about the push, I'll talk about the pull, which lands out of bounds. Again, both sides may be struggling to adjust for the wind.
It really shouldn't be a case of it's either far or it has good direction.
Right, at this point you should know how to pull in bounds.
Medek trying to get Novak moving, but he finally finds Lennart. Lennart with a lefty around, heading, will go for one of his signature deep looks, but I don't think Novak was expecting it, and instead the British defender gets there first. It was probably too long anyway.
Yeah, I actually don't think that Dave Ford touched it in the end. Just absolutely bombed it deep, but some sort of miscommunication, or was just trying to put it out there for a receiver to go and catch, but Ford had the position anyway, and as he mentioned, it was too big, so yeah, didn't quite go to plan there for Silence. Zimmer with a chance to break to bring us level again.
But we will have Zimmer stuck in that difficult corner with all throws, or most throws really, being upwind.
Yeah, the coffin corner. If you are going to turn over, it's probably the place to do it. Disc comes in. Ford goes down line. Gets his central, loses his footing. Does Barnard, slips a little bit. There's Shardlow, squirrels his way free as the reset. Low for Rolf. He looks central, trying to find an option. Swings as Harding comes into the backfield. Continued around to Dave Ford on that far sideline. Shardlow now comes back, working it slowly underneath. Swings to Rolf. Rolf now to Harding. They're keeping possession well, but they're not really gaining many yards. This time was to zip it through to Ford. Wow, defender Andrei Novak got so close, but just about put that where it needed to be. That's precision for you. High release backhand down the line. Really well reeled in by Mitchell. That could well have been the turn. Now Rolf comes up line. Rolf shoots deep. He's looking for Shardlow. Shardlow's got space, and the full fat milk with cream on top as well from Shardlow will tie us at 9s.
I could see Shardlow's face as he was passing right in front of us for that deep cut, and you could tell he was thinking in his head, I need to get one more in, and if I can get to the end zone, they're surely gonna hit me. And that's what they did, and here's a break.
This is comfort, this is chemistry from, I mean, as long as I've been playing, Ben Rolfe and Felix Shardlow have been playing together, and you can see that there. Gets it out nice and early, just wants to sit it into space. And the little hop skip and the jump into the end zone. Points up because he's rightly happy with that one. That's his third goal to go along with 3 assists now. And we are tied at 9s, and this is the final that we were hoping for to kick off a glorious finals day at the European Masters Ultimate Club Championships in Wrocław.
I am loving the intensity of this game. The physicality is just about right. There's just lots and lots of tight contact, but so far we've had no special calls about it. So it seems like both sides are very comfortable with it. I just think Silence getting a little too overcommitted on some of the marks, maybe trying to get a hand into the open side as well, and then Zimmer capitalizing so hard on those break throws. I think the last deep shot was actually a break throw as well, just the mark unable to get there on time.
Yeah, Rolf using that leftiness to his advantage. When I spoke to Gonzo, aka James Cooper, from Zimmer before the game, he was saying that they felt that in that first game they underperformed a little bit. They had too many silly errors, not just in terms of throwaways, drops, but just in terms of decision making. Didn't make the right call often enough because either they forced things that weren't there, or they were just not communicative enough with it. And actually, in this game, you can tell that they've really sharpened things up and they've come to play here.
So while the teams take another timeout to collect themselves, I would maybe give you a little insight on what the Grandmaster Open division will look like in Limerick. We will have Oida, another Grandmasters team from Austria, over in Limerick, DJ Dahlem as well, and then the two teams participating in the final. From Canada, we will have Tombstone and Quarantine, and Som and Fig Jam. Then an Israeli team, Handle with Care, a Venezuelan Esperanza, UP Ultimate Club AC. And then, of course, from the USA, Johnny Walker, a name we appreciated quite a bit with Benji, Surly Grandmasters, and Black Cans and Highlands, and Shadows.
So some really strong names there, an opportunity to, as you mentioned, rematch some teams from this tournament, and also to meet some new opponents as well. The final score of that third place game, you mentioned DJ Dahlem and Oida. Oida won. Oida went down 15-13, so DJ Dahlem taking the bronze medal here, back to Germany with them.
And another pole will take us from the timeout for another offensive points of the Czechs. Novak centers the disc. We see Fensel transitioning from the D-line. Vesely finds Ondřej Novak on the sideline. A lost visor. Ooh, and a low throw from Lennart will turn the disc over to the Brits.
That's a bit of a freebie, but the Czechs haven't really offered so far, not only this game, but this tournament. They're going to shoot deep immediately, Zimmer. They're trying to find Ford in the back of the end zone. Ford's got it. Thrower, arms loft. Why not indeed? Zimmer break back. They take the lead on the throw from Barnard to Ford. The two Daves combine, and they're up 10-9.
And just like that, Zimmer with two breaks in a row has the Czechs with their heads hanging slightly lower than I would expect them to.
This is some game. This is some game. I tell you what. Over at the start of the week, when you're in the pool play, maybe you get some more uneven matchups. But the way we ended yesterday with some absolute crackers, we've really continued that momentum into today. Could not have really asked for a better final to start.
I completely agree. And I will just use the phrase I just heard from the sideline from Holitsky, the founder of the PSEC team. He just said, well, that just means it's going to be more suspenseful. So thrilling and exciting could be the other adjectives used for this game, as Zimmer go up in quite a cool fashion.
Stops that roll just after it lands. Dicing with death a little bit there.
The Czechs switch to a normal line, trying to see if it will work better. Vesely fakes the deep. Finds Fensel.
Fensel has crossed over to play offense from playing defense earlier in the game.
Medek now looking for a defense. Finally finds Novak. Still stuck on that difficult sideline. Medek now for the upline cut. Tries to go back to the middle. Finds Fensel.
Really plowed that narrow channel there.
Back to Novak. Medek looking for the dump. Goes to Fensel. Great poaching downfield from Zimmer. Novak gets moving and goes for the around dish to Fensel. And here is the point, silence needed to move on and focus on defense now.
Yeah, it took a little bit of time, and eventually just the various poachers opened the space, tried to crowd the thrower and use the ability to just roll it round there into Fensel at the front of the end zone for the 10-all score. But it does feel like Zimmer have, you know, maybe put that turn that defense dial all the way up to, I don't know if it actually reaches 11 for them anymore, but at the very least, it's gone a lot higher than it was earlier. Hello to everyone watching in the YouTube chat. I see there are some split loyalties there, which is good. A little bit of banter back and forth. Love to see it.
Thank you, Wolfgang, for reminding us that we missed one of the teams going in the Grandmasters division in Limerick. Ouch. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, that's okay, because you're not on the list that I found on Facebook. Tied at 10. An exciting open Grandmasters final. Czechs facing off the Brits. Silence 4.0 versus Zimmer. Zimmer being up after getting 2 breaks in a row in the at the start of the second half. They received the pull.
Rolf and Shardlow just play a little 1-2 in the backfield. This is going to go to Berry on this near sideline. Doesn't like that first undercut. Thinks maybe about Ford. Shardlow comes through. The force sits off a little bit, allows it to break it inside. On towards the far sideline now for Harding. Harding absolutely rips it. Oh, Berry's so open, and it's a brilliant throw to find him at the back of the end zone. Beautiful stuff there from Harding, getting his first stat of the game as he finds his target in the back of the end zone. The captain, Dan Berry, makes it 11-10.
And this is what makes Hex so effective. We see some of the Czech defenders sagging a little bit on their players, trying to think about poaching and sort of some kind of help defense. That is just never going to work against a Hex offense, because they move the disc so quickly that before you know it, a deep shot opens up just like that, just by moving the disc to the other side of the field. In fairness, it was a great throw anyway.
It's a brilliant throw with that beautiful, voluptuous inside-out shape on it to take it over the top and fade and draw towards Berry at the back of the end zone. Yeah, you mentioned the poaching. One of the ideas with it is that with the Hex style is that you space your players out. So rather than having everyone in the same area, which makes it easier to poach because it's much easier to have one player marking 2, for example. If you spread them out, someone poaches off into a space, well, they've obviously left a space there that someone else can maybe hit a bit more easily.
So Czech find themselves on offense again. Medek is in the center and Zimmer resume with their zone. A little cheeky scoober over the top. Wasn't really cheeky. Novak just has these mallets on the sideline.
I like changing the defense slightly from Zimmer, try and keep them guessing a little bit, see if again you can just force a cheap turnover like they did a couple of points ago.
Heading receives a pass from Vesely. And a deep and a shot around the defender to Vesely for the score. That looked pretty clean, pretty easy, but it's not all the work done. They really need to focus on the defense now. Yeah, they need to find a break to put themselves back in front. This is a really good bid from Barnard, by the way. He doesn't get there, but committed, despite the fact that that's going to hurt. And again, anytime you make a bid like that and you don't make contact with your opponent, it's something that should be celebrated, because it's so often you see players just kind of losing that shape and, you know, losing that commitment maybe a little bit and you know, causing contact, and they didn't see that there. We have Brennan in the chat on YouTube saying that he loves Grandmasters. Isn't that what we all do?
Yeah, we do indeed. See Ed in the chat as well. Felix's brother and the organiser of the Glastonbury tournament, where ULTI.TV's been for the past couple of years as well. Time cap is at 90 minutes and it is first to 15 at the speed at which this game's being played. It's absolutely probably going to go all the way to 15, you'd imagine.
So tied at 11, I only feel like the game has been going on for about 15 minutes, but we are actually in the 67th minute with Zimmer back on offense.
Cheeky high release throw there from Ford. Finds his option in the middle, and Harding goes to the long lean figure of Cy Weeks. Weeks wants to hammer it over the top. Can Shardlow catch it up? Not quite. Weeks slaps his knees in frustration. Just too much on it, and Shardlow is still laying prostrate on the floor.
I think he's going to take a moment. I really hope it's not going to be anything serious, but he did look for the disc for quite some time. Now he's slowly getting up.
Yeah, he's gonna have to take an injury sub here. Maybe just a bit of cramp, perhaps. Hope it's nothing more serious.
Honestly, quite a big loss for Zimmer, really. He's been doing a huge chunk for both their offense and defense.
Yeah, 3 goals, 3 assists. You know, he helps to implement the structure as well, so even if he's not scoring, you know, they do look to him to help kind of direct traffic. You're seeing again, it's not a bad option, but it's just too much of it, and when he lands...
I think he might have hit his knee or something.
Yeah, hopefully, you know, just a little bit of stretching and warming it up. For Zimmer, he'll be able to carry on, but... Again, that remains to be seen. Here's a break opportunity for Silence if they can go the full length of the pitch.
So really quite a bit of win, just like on the first day, will make it that much more difficult to work the whole way of the pitch. Felix is giving us a little thumbs up, so hopefully he will be fine and will resume his play in this final. Fence on the sideline, centers to Stecker. Vesely now has Sedlash striking deep but doesn't take it. Goes back to Fensel instead. Gesek finds Karasek on the sideline. He gets reminded by his teammates that there's a poach downfield. Stecker with a hammer. Ooh! And the defender just misses it as Vesely gets the disc.
Yeah, Dave Ford was baiting that a little bit, but they were able to just about get it over his head as he tried to close that gap.
And Gesek with the around throw to Stecker, and that's a break for the Czechs. They go up 12-11.
Again, every time it feels like, you know, a team's got a hold of the game, just changes hands a little bit. It's been a really entertaining, engrossing contest between the two Grandmaster sides here, showing the other Masters that sort of what they've got to emulate here if they're to create the same atmosphere in this final. (12-11) the Czechs lead. I think at this point you do wonder, you know, with the narrow roster, they only brought 13 players into this game. Haven't seen Dave Grayson really take the field. We know that James Cooper's injured with a hamstring problem as well. So kind of 11 players really that they're rotating through. If Shardlow's out as well, again that puts a little bit more strain on them.
We have a couple more comments in the chat. We do appreciate you engaging with us here in the commentator booth. Yes, Amberish, Silence 10, Stepan. He is the one who used to wear dreads and lived in London. That is him. And thank you, Will, for joining us in for this great game.
Here's the Zimmer offense, and this is going to go pulled back. Grayson, who is, again, we haven't necessarily seen too much of this game, called for a travel there.
Lots of pressure on the Brits, having to take this, make this point work for them to make sure the Czechs don't run away too far.
Need to keep them within touching distance. It's brought in. See if he can find Ford, isolated in the centre of the park. Gets him, and then Ford dishes off to Perry on the far sideline. Pump fakes that backhand. Turns, looks for options once, twice. Low throw. finds Dave Ford, lefty into the centre for Dave Grayson. High release backhand, Rolf reels it in towards the sideline, but he's inbounds, tries to zing it down there for Berry. Wow, he got that out of his hands quick, but it finds its target for the goal.
What a laser. And again, the Czechs just unable to stop the British breaks, the BBs. The Benjamin Reeses. No, that's not a B. Never mind.
That's not how my name works.
I went for that too quickly.
There was an attempt, Rach, you tried. Seeing there, Andrea Odi-Falan, the president of the EUF, who has been playing this weekend for Oida, who came up just short in their quest for the bronze medal.
And we apologize for them in advance, since they have been the only team that we weren't showing on the stream. Hopefully next time, or else in Limerick.
Yeah, we shall see if we can. Obviously, we don't have a streaming schedule as yet for the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships, but
what is for sure is that both Benji and I will be there.
I know, I tell you what, if the last few games we've seen are anything to go by, we are in for a real treat.
So now the pressure is back on the Czechs, with the offensive line in more of the original composition, so to speak. No Fensel on the line. Instead, the Polish import, Turek, who's been in Prague for a while, taking his place. Heading centers back to Medek, who finds Novak. Back to Medek. Heading now. Novak in the middle.
Sounds like more force middle coming from the Zimmer defense.
Vesely now on the sideline. And he will take a break himself for heading and his third score of the game.
Well, they made that look easy.
They did indeed. There was a few moments where Turkowski was open in the end zone, but really Czechs not taking any chances as they climbed back to get the lead in this game.
Yeah, 13-12 the current score. We're just going to see a replay of that now as well. Huge shout out to all of our most recent patrons, taking us up and over the 200 mark. Sohan, Kieran, Andreas, Christoph, Kirsten, Magnus, Nathan, Valerie, all of your support is greatly appreciated to allow us to continue to broadcast live free Ultimate across the world, like this Grand Masters Open Final here at the European Masters Ultimate Club Championships from the Olympic Stadium complex in Wrocław, Poland. Currently 13-12. The Czech team of Silence have the lead. Hoping to close this one out and shut up their opponents once and for all. That is 7 players. For a moment I miscounted. I am a very clever and smart person who has 2 totally legitimate degrees.
We see Fensel tapping the disc for a clap, which is a habit that the Prague Devils usually do. Just can't take the habit out of Frankie.
Yeah, and it also helps. It also helps to kind of let your teammates know when the ball's going up, so they can time getting it at full speed without being offside. Pick downfield.
Ford and Sedlash will settle on a position that they're both comfortable with. Can they stop the breaks this time? Or will it even be needed?
Weeks on the near sideline, fakes, tight window, sneaks it up the line for Dave Grayson. Grayson with a shot to the end zone. It's blading a little bit, but that's not a problem.
Can you believe that throw?
It's going to go back on a travel.
I just can't believe he squeezed that in, despite the 2 defenders chasing the receiver.
See Matthew Ford whip it, making the sign for travel, and also respecting the 3-meter line. No Finnies in the Grand Masters division. You love to see it.
We will have a replay of that situation so that you can judge yourself from the comfort of your couch.
I think maybe he took an extra step or so, but I'm not sure whether how much that affected. Again, it's not my call as long as the players on the field come to a resolution they're happy with.
So more players getting involved, including the sideline, spirit captains maybe.
Yeah, again, where there's a bit of a language barrier, it can take a little bit longer to sort out calls.
And
It's
I
still,
think now they have brought in our perspective, which in my opinion
Yep.
was not a travel, so.
Yeah, I see why he's called it. Thinks maybe he's taken an extra step or two, but he does have separation. The throw's going to go regardless. He nails the location, and after a good discussion, calls retracted. Goal stands 13 apiece. I will say you were trying to get involved there to say that you didn't think it was a travel. Turn your mic off and see if you could get your message across.
Yes, I apologize
No.
for the intervention.
No, it was good. Rather than saying I'm right, you were like, we have a perspective here from the sideline. And it was, to quote unquote, the detriment of your team, because even as we try and stay neutral, I think if we were honest here, you probably would maybe have a slight bias towards silence for some reason. Can't think why.
But in fairness, the few steps I think where he didn't change direction, I think he was trying to stop.
Also, it's Grandmasters. It takes a little bit longer to stop.
It makes sense. Work on your deceleration. I will tell you that if you want something to take away from these players. But we continue in this thrilling match. 13-all. Silence prepared to receive. Wind really strong now. Will it disrupt some of these throws? Medic in the middle. Lots of poaches from Zimmer. Novak to Herring. Thinks about the deep, doesn't take it. Break side to Novak. Working with Medic.
I think they want to force them to work it underneath. Try and make as many of these passes as possible in the variable breeze.
Vesely now on the sideline. Sporting that professor look in the glasses. Medic to Lennart.
Oh, low, but he saved it.
This time completes the pass to Vesely. Ooh, and a nice break throw to get a gainer to Lennart.
So cheeky.
Novak. And just out of reach of Medic, but he doesn't lose the sight of the disc and collects it right on the sideline. Back to Novak.
Catch your Rose.
Ooh, and a nice opener to Herring. Just shy of the end zone. And all you need is a quick dish to the other Novak, Ondrej Novak, for the score. Great defensive pressure, or rather not as much pressure, rather than forcing the offense to take as many passes as possible. Definitely a smart move in this wind.
Yeah, they very nearly got the turnover they needed as well, but credit Medic because, fumbled the catch because the throw was a little bit high, but he stayed focused, committed to going to ground to make sure that he got the securest catch possible. And then, this is some throw from Novak. I mean, it is.
Again, a lefty.
Yeah, but in the wind, in a high-pressure scenario, absolutely nails it.
But when you think about it, that is the direction that you would want to throw a hammer, given the wind is coming towards the camera. So the wind actually helped the throw, I think, this time. But to put it in such precision, that does take all the skills that these experienced handlers have. So first game point, Benji. Potential game point for Silence.
If Zimmer can work their way down the field and score, we'll have Universe in our first final of the day. Hearing the whistles on the sideline.
Fensel with the pull.
Soars high into the Wrocław sky. It's going to fade down towards this sideline. It lands inbounds before sliding out. Great pull there from Fensel in a pressure situation. Swinging across. Here's Ford, still inside their own end zone. Goes downfield to Barnard. Barnard sees a couple of options. Going to work underneath. Still everything very compressed and congested for the Zimmer offense so far at this point. Rolf quickly to Barnard.
Czech sticking with a straight up mark.
Hear the whistle for time, but I think we knew it was going to 15 anyway.
And a bit of a call. Either a pick. So I think what the Czechs are doing right now is a straight up defense with downfield players staying in between the disc and their player. Trying to either force a difficult deep throw or make them work really hard on the dump resets.
Zip that one into Rolf. Snags it with those crab claws. Low to Mitchell. Mitchell on the sideline to the captain Berry, back to Mitchell. Swinging across, here's Barnard. Barnard jacks it deep, and somehow it works its way to Ford.
Fensel doesn't see it, so Zimmer now moving quickly towards the end zone.
Here's Mitchell, looking downfield. Oh, thought about it, but he put it back in the locker. Now still count's got to be rising, instead he just goes underneath, playing it safe, solid. Shipley, what has he got? Trying to lead throw into the end zone. It's in the end zone. It's sudden death. 14-all, Universe.
We couldn't have asked for a better game to start us off in today's final day. We will have Silence from the Czech Republic and Zimmer from the Great Britain facing off in a Universe point.
I mean, God, isn't Frisbee great? I love Ultimate.
And with a bit of sun and a bit of fun.
And a little bit of the breeze as well, just to sticky the equation a little bit here. What a way to start finals day. Just seeing a replay there of that previous score. Shipley throwing it to Dave Grayson, it is, in the end. So, 14 apiece. And we're going to have a little timeout as well.
It does take a lot of mental preparation to go into that last point, and it makes sense to have multiple strategies ready depending on what the other team will come up with.
Neither side's been perfect this game, but
in some moments it was pretty darn close.
Yeah, when Zimmer have generated the turn, they've put it in every time.
Unlike
3 for 3
Silence.
on breaks.
Unlike Silence, yeah.
Yeah, we've played 28 points and had a grand total of 10 turnovers. I mean, this is high quality Ultimate, if ever there was any. Both sides having an equal number of breaks, both broken 3 times.
Murphy, and then floats that one out. Huge bid, gets the touch. What a grab! DV!
So here we go, Universe. Dave Barnard with a low, flat pull to Silence, and sudden death begins.
Centering to Novak. Novak with a low throw to Heading. Vesely on the sideline. Novak striking up line. He gets the disc. Takes the lefty back to Medic. Novak centering the disc, swinging it to Vesely. Vesely thinks about the break, doesn't take it. Novak on the sideline. 2 handlers now in the handler space. Medek gets it. Vesely for heading.
He can't reel it in. It was just a touch too far.
And Zimmer with a turnover they so much hoped for at the beginning of this point.
They'd broken the force around earlier, but they had no continuation. This time they saw it, but maybe the timing wasn't quite there, and it just rolls off the fingertips of the intended target heading.
And I think Silence really went with their best offensive players there, which doesn't necessarily mean that they will perform the best on defense.
It's going to be a brief stoppage before the disc is checked back in. Zimmer, Silence, everyone watching on the sidelines at home, and us in the booth. How are your nerves? We know we can say that they've been there before, but I don't think it reduces that any bit. Still get those little butterflies in your stomach.
I am shaking all over my body, Benji, I'm not gonna lie. Can't believe I can be on that sideline giving hints to the defense. Disc is tapped in.
Underneath, Berry on the sideline. Centres a little bit rising, but Barnard catches. And it's going to go off the hands of Rolf.
I don't think Rolf expected that pass at all. He was looking downfield at the moment. And that's a second chance for Silence. Medek walks towards the disc. Vesely
breaks it around again.
He has Mullet. They're really nearing the end zone. Fensel now. He's got the throws. Can he get it in? Yes, he does. Heading with a final score. The Czech wins. Silence become the European Grandmasters Open champions.
What a game. You've heard that expression before. It's tough to beat the same team twice in a tournament. My word, did Zimmer prove that today. 15-6 they went down in the pool, but the final was anything but that. It went all the way to Universe, and they got the turn, but a miscommunication gave it back, and that's going to hurt right now for Zimmer. But they fought admirably. You kind of wonder if maybe they had a couple more players. Those injuries earlier in the tournament hadn't bitten them, whether they could have been able to clutch this one out. But as it is, the European Grandmasters Open crown will be heading back to the Czech Republic with Silence. What a game.
What a game, Benji. Zimmer will have a chance to redeem themselves and show off more of their skills at the World Championship in Limerick later this year. This was an absolutely exciting final. It's, I think, fair to remind our viewers that the pool game went 15-6 in favor of Silence, so this final was quite a different game as expected. What a wonderful performance out of both these teams. What a nice, fair game to watch. So thrilling, so exciting, great spirit there. We even got a little bit of a video perspective that we were able to use. It was just wonderful.
Yeah, 29 points in total, just the 12 turnovers. What a ridiculous game to kick us off here on finals day. And the best part is we've got 2 more games coming. Czech presence on the field once more after this game as Silence version 3.3 in the Masters Open division. We'll face a tough game against another unbeaten side, Hardfish from Hamburg in Germany, and the tournament rounds off with the mixed Masters final of PUC, the Paris Ultimate Club, trying to get vengeance for their pool play defeat against B-Fire from Torino, Italy. But I think that's going to do it here for game 1. Time to get a little bit of a lie down in before game 2, which starts in just 15 minutes time. We're throwing them at you thick and fast today, and the Masters Open final is up next. But that's the end of our coverage from the Grandmasters Open division. For Rachel Toshnerova, I'm Benjamin Rees. Your final score is Zimmer 14, Silence version 4.0 15, and they are your European Open Division Grandmasters champions.
Thank you for watching, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you in the chat in just a few minutes again.
Hi, this is Vest. Me and my camera have been covering Ultimate Frisbee since 2012, and now I've been working with ULTI.TV streaming Ultimate Frisbee for you. And if you become a patron member, we can offer you more contents, especially those games that, you know, they are not live stream and they're happening at the end of the game. Half of it I can move and go in there and stream live. So become a member, go on ULTI.TV.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Merci beaucoup. ULTI.TV.